power prices. Now, we all know that they're going to go up, way up in the next little while, and we know that the policy, asterisk 2025, will never be achieved.
Households will benefit by $275 on average.
Reducing power prices by $275.
That will reduce power prices by $275.
Prices by $275.
$275. $275 a year.
$275.
$275 a year. $275. $275 a year.
Now, why do I keep making this point? Because imagine if Tony Abbott had said, we will stop the boats, says it hundreds of times during an election campaign, but then gets into office and says, maybe within 3 years. Well, or do we go back to John Howard with the core and non-core promise? But because many people in the media just wanted the change, and this was the wrapping that got 43% emissions target and 80-something percent renewables, whatever. That bit's over. It doesn't matter. But for normal people, it really matters because, you know, bills are really through the roof. It's super expensive. Normal people who supposedly are represented by the Battlers political party are going to be hurting. So we now see that the federal government says that they will have a solution in some way, shape or form of this towards the end of the year by Christmas, which, by the way, is what, 3 weeks away?
All options are on the table, and let's see what emerges from the discussions on Wednesday. I think in terms of what the specific agreements that the states and the feds come up with, this issue is too important not to leave the room without it.
And again, normal people, busy, stuff on, family functions, relo bashes, I'm busy for work, I've got to get the kids here, I've got to mind the grandkids, you know how it works. So do you have any idea whether a cap on gas prices is going to help or not? Well, no. We'll all have to wait and see, but this will, of course, be lauded as a wonderful achievement by the people who all talk about politics for a living and don't really care about what their power bill is. But apparently a conversation about the other shoe to drop here, which would be a price, putting a cap on coal prices, apparently can't be done by the federal government. It needs to be done by the state government. And the states are now turning around and saying that they don't believe it should happen. In fact, here's Matt Keane popping up, I think here on Sky News a bit earlier today.
They said they'd have a solution to ease energy bills, and so far they've been consulting with themselves and unions for the past 2 months. And I'm worried that all they're coming up with is an excuse to do nothing. Let me be very clear, the New South Wales government will do whatever it takes, working with the Commonwealth to ensure that consumers are not penalised by the illegal war in Ukraine. That said, this is a national problem that requires a national solution.
And there's National Cabinet, and as we know, with the majority of Labor states bar two, WhatsApp is probably where National Cabinet's already worked out what's going to happen here. So get ready for lots of fighting and then a solution. But the reality is that it's all going up. And not just because of the price of coal and gas, but because this government has decided we must transition to renewable energy because it's better for the planet. The boss of the Reserve Bank says that has nothing to do with power prices. It'll in fact make them worse. Why? Because you're going to spend hundreds of billions of dollars on the transition. Most people, it seems, are cool with that. But every time you're asked, should we do something for climate change, people say, yes, are you willing to pay for it? No. Well, this is the willing to pay for it. But is this bit part of the conversation? No, because the media is trying to pump up a solution that they want, which is the 83% renewables, and anyone who talks about the transition is somehow a climate change denier.